welcome to Review the Light. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Thrunite Archer 1A version 2. Really quick, if you haven't yet, go ahead and click this link right up here to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Keep up to date with the latest videos. You can also follow me on Facebook. I post pictures and my reviews and little clips and things of flashlights doing their great stuff. You can follow me there. And also, if you want any more details on the light at the end of the review, go ahead and click on the link to the full review that I'm going to put in the description here, and that will show you things like the spectral analysis, beam shots, runtime graphs, output charts, all that sort of fun stuff. That'll be in the full review, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. So the Thrunite Archer is part of the 1A is part of the Archer series. This is version 2, so it's been upgraded from the previous version. We'll go ahead and open it up. Inside the box, you've got the light and a little bit of plastic wrapping there. You have the spare O-rings. It's a good feature. And you have, underneath this foam, the instruction manual. So there's that. The light itself runs off of a single AA battery. I don't know if it can take a 14500 lithium ion. Let me check really quick. Yeah, it says that it can also take a 14500 lithium ion battery, so that would be, if you want a little bit more power, that's a nice option to have. The main upgrade from the previous Archer 1A is that this uses the new Cree XPL emitter. So this is one of the first batch of lights I've seen that uses the XPL emitter. I haven't actually turned any of them on outside yet, so I'm excited to see how well this emitter performs. It's kind of like, if you're familiar with emitters, a cross between the XML and the XPG emitters. So it's got the board that it's mounted on is the size of the XPG emitter, and the surface that emits the light is the size of the XML emitter. So it's kind of going to be a cross between those two, and from some of the output graphs I've seen, it should be pretty close to the XML emitter in output and efficiency, which is excellent. I'm excited to see that. So here they've mounted it in a smooth reflector, a slightly textured reflector, which means that it's not going to throw quite as far, but it'll be a smoother beam pattern. And there's a bit of a blue ring in there. I can't tell if that's from the O-ring or if that's the edge of the reflector is painted, but it's just kind of a nice little look for style there. I appreciate that. The stainless steel bezel here is crenellated, and it'll help in the event of dropping the flashlight or hitting it on anything. The fact that it's made out of stainless steel means it won't chip or get banged up so easily, so that's a good feature. The clip here is a pretty large, firm clip. Got some good springiness to it, and it is removable just by pulling on it there. It takes a good amount of force, so it's unlikely to come off on accident, but you can do it by hand whenever you like to. It's got a side switch and a rear switch. You can see the side switch has a little S on it, I guess, to indicate that it's a side switch. It protrudes a little bit beyond the body, but it's not in danger of accidental activations. We'll talk about that later. The body itself has some standard diamond knurling pattern there for extra grip. One side it has the model name, other side the Thrunite logo. The tail has a bit of knurling on it as well. The end of the tail, where the switch is, you can see it's got a couple of cutouts so that when you're holding the light, you can reach your thumb around there easily and comfortably to access the switch. It also has a few grooves on either side to attach the lanyard. Now, because of these cutouts, it doesn't do an extremely stable tail stand. It can do it a little bit, but it's not as stable as if it were completely round on the end. So that's just the trade-off that you get there. So we'll go ahead and open it up. The tail comes off to insert the battery. So it's a pretty thick body, which is kind of nice. The threads are square cut. I don't know if I'm going to focus well enough for you to be able to see that. I'll put my finger behind it, and that might help. Square cut threads and anodized. They should last pretty long. I can see a little bit of grease that they even put on there, which is a nice feature. This spring here makes a connection with the negative battery terminal. At the other end, I don't know if there's enough light. You can kind of see it down there. There's the central metal plate that makes connection with the positive battery terminal, and then on either side of it there's two more metal plates, which I'm guessing are for reverse polarity protection, so that if you put the light in backwards, it won't let any electricity flow through, and you won't damage any circuitry or your battery. So that's a very nifty feature to have. Again, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I haven't tested it yet, but I'll put the results in the full review. So once you've got the battery in, you can see if you click the side switch, nothing happens, or if you hold down on it or anything you do to it, the side switch isn't going to do anything. So side switches are kind of notorious for accidental activation in a pocket or a bag or something like that, but not a problem with this one. The side switch doesn't do anything when the light's off. When you turn the light on with the rear switch, you can choose to press it down about halfway and just use the momentary on feature, and it'll be on when you're pressing and off when you release, or you can click it into position and it'll stay on until you click it again. So once the light is on, you can change the output by clicking the side switch. So here we have the firefly mode, low, medium, and high, and I will measure the outputs of all those and how they perform over time. So check the full review for that. Then you can just continue to cycle through by clicking, and then whenever you get to the mode that you want, say I leave it in firefly and turn it off, when I turn it back on, it'll remember and stay in the firefly mode. Also, if I leave it in any other mode, say I'm in high, turn it off, turn it back on, it remembers the high. So it's got mode memory there, which is really nice. The last feature of the user interface is the strobe, so I got that by holding down on the side switch for a second. And there's the strobe, and you can see just a single click takes you back to whatever regular brightness mode you were using last. The strobe is not memorized by the mode memory, so if I have it in strobe and turn it off, and turn it back on, it just comes on in whatever regular brightness mode I was using last. So that is the operation of the Thrunite Archer 1A version 2. Again, check out the full review for in-depth description, and if you stick around for just a second, we'll take it outside and give it a shot in the dark. Alright, welcome back to Review the Light. We've got the Thrunite Archer 1A version 2 here in the backyard, and that's another great mouthful. We'll go ahead and fire it up and see how it looks. So, clicking the rear switch there, I've turned it on. You can see my pal Hercules is helping us out here tonight by chewing his bone in the field of view. So you can see what a dog looks like in the flashlight, with a flashlight on him. So here we are. It looks like I'm in one of the lower modes. It just turned on whatever mode I had last. I'll go ahead and take it up through the cycle. So here's the lowest mode. You can't see it very well in the garage at all. I can kind of make out that something's there. If it were pitch black, I'm sure it would look a lot more well defined. And this is the lowest mode. Here's the second one. Now you can see the spot beginning to be defined there. The spill region is a little bit harder to make out. The third mode here, very well defined spot. You can see the spill now. It goes out to right about there. And the fourth, brightest mode. We'll pan around a little bit so you can get an idea of how far it throws. It's got a decent throw for such a small light, but it's not going to throw super far, obviously. Like, you can't really see my tree back above the garage back there. Because of the small reflector size, it's a little bit more for flood. So it's a fairly large hot spot in the middle, like you can tell, and it is a little bit more for up-close work. So then, holding down on the button, there's the strobe. It's a very rapid strobe, and it seems like it spends more time on than off. So it's kind of, it's just an interesting strobe pattern, the way they have it set up. It doesn't spend very much time off, so it's definitely disorienting to look at. This is a little different than what I normally see. So I'll cycle through the modes one more time. There's the lowest. There's number 2, 3, and 4. And this has been the Thrunite Archer 1A version 2. If you like this review, make sure to give it a thumbs up and follow me here on YouTube and on Facebook over here, and check out the link to the full review in the description. Thanks and have a great night.